How's it going, guys? Welcome to Just Win Baby Podcast. I'm your host, Dan the Man, and we are talking the Raiders. And there's some news that we have to cover today, like Mike Holmgren visiting the Raiders, watching film, also a superstar injury who we desperately need to come back. We also have some new additions on the Raider roster, and we also have Reece responding to Rich Gannon's little rant, which I agree with Rich Gannon, but let's see if Reece agrees as well. But let's get started with Mike Holmgren. And if you know about Mike Holmgren, he's not coaching at this particular time, but he was coaching the Green Bay Packers, if you remember, when the great Brett Favre was playing. And he took the Seattle Seahawks to the Super Bowl. Well, Mike Holmgren does have somewhat of a relationship with Reggie McKenzie, but he did go down and watched some tape for the Raiders and did a little talk with the team as well. But let's get right into what his quote says. And this is Mike Holmgren stating, "Yeah, I did go down there." Holmgren said, "A couple of years ago, I had met with owner Mark Davis about possibly working with the Raiders, and it didn't work out. And GM Reggie McKenzie did work with me in Green Bay for many, many years. So I do have a relationship with him. Those are all true. So they phoned me up. I went down there for a day and looked at some film. They had the bye after the London game, and just to float some ideas and get another opinion of the team and what was going on, no jobs were discussed. Nothing like that. It was more just a pop in, pop out, and that's what I did." End of quote. And that is very interesting. Mark Holmgren, of course, come on. There was a little bit of discussion about him maybe taking over the Raiders if he was interested at all. Just asking him if he was interested, but of course he denied that anything took place like that and that he would not coach the Raiders. Mike Holmgren is a great coach. Like I said, he took the Seattle Seahawks at the time when they had Hasselbeck as quarterback, and they were a young and talented team, but he took them to the Super Bowl, and of course they lost to the Steelers. So it'd be very interesting if we did end up getting Mike Holmgren. I'd be more confident with the Raiders because he is a veteran coach who knows how to win. Of course, he took the Packers that one year with Brett Favre and won the Super Bowl. So, I'm all for it. If there's a lot of coaching name out there. I would like John Gruden because he has more of an attitude and he's a younger coach. But Mike Holmgren, why not? I say, why not indeed? But he had to at least discuss it with Mark a little bit. Just to see. Mark asked him if he was interested. I'm pretty sure he asked him. And Mike Holmgren, but if he wanted to work with the Raiders a while back ago, let's say he probably, that head coaching job, it seems like he does want to come back and coach. So that's very interesting how Mike Holmgren went to go look at film. But by all means, the Raider camp is saying that Tony Spariano is, lighting the fire, so to speak. The team is definitely has high spirits and are ready to go out there. Their bye week's over. Time to get to some Raider football this Sunday. And, against the Chargers. Chargers such a tough opponent, especially the way they've been going. But if the Raiders have the same intensity they had against the Patriots, I think we'll do a great job. It'll be interesting what kind of plays they run and the scheme they go after. I would think they would want to establish the run a little bit more and see if they can get that going. And Derek Carr, if he's going to start on Sunday, he says he will, but we'll see. We did pay Matt Schaub all that money, and like I said, I would be very interested to see Matt Schaub, see what he's got, and see what the team goes on with him. But hey, if Derek Carr's in there, I have full confidence in Derek Carr as well. He's a great quarterback. He is very, like I said, he's very mature for his age. Definitely needs work on the pressure-wise. When they pressure him, he definitely seems to not be able to make pinpoint accurate passes, and of course the sacks are involved. But he's been doing really good in the pocket. Pass blocking has been very, very good so far, but the run blocking needs to pick it up. So Mike Holmgren, if he could take Matt Hasselbeck to this, if he can get, Matt Hasselbeck was a great quarterback, but he wasn't a superstar. So Mike Holmgren coming in and just, developing Derek Carr would be very interesting because I believe Derek Carr has more potential than Hasselbeck had. And, this is a team that has so much potential, but it is, a lot of people are just shrugging it off because it's not a win now team. It still needs to build their defense and get younger guys in there. And there's still rumors with Jim Harbaugh. And of course, Jim Harbaugh and the 49ers do not have a great relationship, even though they're winning. So that's interesting. But he and players in the 49ers camp stating that, yeah, Jim Harbaugh, if they win the Super Bowl, he's not coming back to the 49ers organization. And I don't think, and the Raiders are flirting, or Mark Davis really wants Jim Harbaugh too, because he turned around the 49ers when they were just an awful team. Awful team. They were just a lot like us. Potential. And then they drafted a lot of players and they're on a roll. And then Kaepernick stepped up. And then, the 49ers just kept on winning, and they're winning still, even though some people were just a little bit, because of the bad relationship he has with his players, that you'd think they would, topple a little bit and start losing more games. Hopefully when the Raiders play them, that we can end up showing the world that that relationship cannot sustain, because I got big money on the Raiders versus 49ers. So come on, Raiders. But other than that, so yeah, Mike Holmgren coming in, looking at some tape. Okay, maybe speaking to the team. Giving advice of what's wrong with the team, but we all know what's wrong with the team. A lot of people know what's wrong with the team. I think he did go in there. It's just a little, not a mini interview, but a social discussion on if he would be interested in taking over the Raiders. But let's move on to Reece's response to Rich Gannon. I wanted to get this one out of the way because, not about last week ago, Rich Gannon went on that rant on Cyrus Radio, and he did say a lot of things about the Raiders organization, how we're pretty much not winners, we're losers, and we are not conducting ourselves to be winners, and the Raider players are pretty much stealing from the fans because they don't go out there and get their job done. And I gotta agree with a little bit to what Rich Gannon has to say, because the Raiders have been awful for too many years, and there doesn't seem to be that much leadership on the team. The head coach didn't seem to be a leader as well, as he was seen nonchalant, and that's what got him fired. And so Reece had to say, this is what Reece said. My question to Rich is, when is the last time Rich actually came to watch us practice and watch the work we put in? And for Rich to be a guy who people love, Raider fans love him, the organization has showed him a ton of love, and he's talking about the organization that gave him a chance and let him do his thing here, and now he's just bashing us. I'm in the business of fixing problems and not causing them. I invite Rich to a practice. Come see how myself and my guys work every day in, day out, and excellence that we do demand of each other. That's what I ask him. Gannon tweeted Thursday that he lost himself in a rant and said there are some good people in the organization who want to win as well. That's Rich Gannon's tweet on last week on Thursday. So yeah, Reece definitely, that's what Reece needs to do. He needs to defend the Raiders. But looking at the behind the scenes of how the Raiders camp was, and compared to a lot of other camps, we are just there is some players like Reece. Reece is a very great player, but we don't know how to use him. Might as well just make him a running back as it is. There's some great players on here that do want to win. I mean, I believe we'll get to Rod Streeter and his injury. I believe he wants to win. I believe Derek Carr has the passion, and he wants to improve himself every game, every day to win. So Derek Carr is our leader going forward, and we just needed that head coach to really light the fire. So we'll see about that. But Gannon, yeah, I mean, Rich Gannon is beloved by a lot of the Raider fans out there, especially the organization. He is tend to known to have a little bit of an ego, and you really don't see him a lot around Raiders celebration, but he does defend the Raiders, and I think he does have love for the Raiders and what it provided him in through his career. So I believe Rich Gannon is right, but I also believe that Reece is right when he says that there are some players who work hard every day, but I don't think that's a problem. You don't want some, you want all of your teammates to work hard every day and just not treat it as a game. We got to treat it as, this is business. You got to treat it now as just business. You're in there to work. No, I know people could joke around and stuff, but it's like when I played football for high school. It's basically we had fun within each other, but we were there to work. If we weren't the best team on the field, we'd be the most conditioned team. Then boy, were we the most conditioned team. When we hit the fourth quarter, our opponents wouldn't even be able to stand next to us because we're so conditioned, and we beat them in that fourth quarter and just hammered out wins and hard wins. But the Raiders are not a conditioned team. The Raiders are a mess. The Raiders defense is not a conditioned team. They're very well. The offense comes off the field too soon, and then the Raiders defense have to go back out there all the time. That makes them so tired. But this Raiders team is just. I believe Reece when he says there are some who really care about winning, and I believe Rich Gann when he says this organization is basically not doing its job. So both opinions are right, and then both are on the wrong sometimes, but it is great to see Reece stand up for his guys, because that's what we need moving forward through against the Chargers. So let's move on. We got an injury report, and this is devastating news, especially for me because this is my favorite Raider. Oakland Raiders place wide receiver Rod Streater on the reserved injured report, designated for return list, and it was announced last week on Thursday. Streater will be eligible to return to practice in 6 weeks, November 13th. So he's on the injury report. Oh man, that's not good news for Raiders, because Rod Streater is one of the most talented wide receivers that we got, and he knows how to catch the freaking ball. So him being on injured reserved is very bad for this team, since we could have used him for the Chargers, and as you know, he got injured in I believe it wasn't the London game. I believe it was the game before that. Can't seem to remember. But yeah, Rod Streater is out, and man, he's like. That's a big hit to the Raiders offense. That just means Denarius Moore has to step it up. Holmes has to step it up. And hopefully and Rivera, I think we should establish Rivera a lot more. Rivera is a very talented tight end, and especially those red zones. If we're going to have that, if we want opportunities to score points, the tight end is the best option to do that. So, yes, Rod Streater is out for a while, and then we got new Raider players. Yay! We claim the Oakland Raiders have claimed wide receiver Kimbrel Thompson, waivers from the New England Patriots. Kimbrel Thompson, was a Patriots wide receiver. He had some good moments, but now he's with the Raiders, and I don't know how I really feel about that. I mean, he is very explosive wide receiver, and we could use all the help we need from the wide receiver area, but I still think we need a big wide receiver to continue to build and have success in this league. And of course, we have linebackers have been injured very much for those Raiders team, so we also Oakland Raiders have claimed linebacker Ray Armstrong via waivers from St. Louis. General manager Reggie McKenzie announced Tuesday. Armstrong was originally signed by the Rams as an undrafted free agent in May 2013. He made the team out of the training camp and appeared in 16 games as a rookie. Playing primarily on special teams, he totaled 3 tackles last season on defense and led the team with 12 special team stops this season. Armstrong has seen action in 4 games for his career. The 6'3", 234-pound has appeared in 20 contests. And then, of course, to make room for the roster, where the Raiders have placed linebacker Kaluka Malava on injured reserve. So, like I said, the injuries in the linebacker area we are very thin. So we definitely needed a signing there. So yeah, I mean, we got some new players on this Raiders team, so it's gonna be interesting what they contribute. I don't think they're, especially Thompson. I don't think he's gonna contribute just as fast as Ray Armstrong. We need Ray Armstrong right now, so it's gonna be interesting. And we got a few quotes, basically, for the Raiders about this moving forward. And Justin Smith says, winning is a wonderful thing. Jones-Drew, you have to pay your dues. Woodley, we're ready to go. Because this is it, man. This is what we're seeing. This is going to see where we're at right now after the firing of Dennis Allen. If it was basically the head coach or is it much deeper than that? So far, it seems like it's much deeper than that because we fired how many coaches already, and we haven't just done anything to have that winning streak going on. We haven't won. I think we lost 8 straight games going through last year. So this is awful. So we'll see what the Raiders can do coming this Sunday. I am very excited to see if they have, something lit up, that knowing that, hey, everybody's telling you guys are an awful team. Aren't you tired of it? You had your coach fired. It's got to be up to you guys. And I think the players need to know that, because the players, sometimes it just doesn't seem like they are. They probably are giving it their all, but there's just no fire in them like I see in other teams. So basically, I hope the Raiders I hope they improve this weekend. I'm going for my Raiders. I think they have a great matchup with the Chargers. Even though the Chargers are on the roll, we are known to surprise the Chargers and come up with that W. So I hope the Raiders. Hope this weekend for you Raider fans are really, if you guys are up to it, I hope we end up winning these last games. We have a chance to make the playoffs, but it's going to be very difficult. We have to win mostly every game. But as long as we're on a roll, hopefully the practices were great. Hopefully Tony Spariano got these guys ready for this weekend. And the run game has to go. We're not going to win any games if the run game doesn't work. McFadden needs to step up. Jones, they need to use Jones. We signed this guy. Let's see what he's got left in the tank. He didn't do great in the first week, but now is the time to see what this guy. And I'm surprised we don't use that many screens. Screens work all the time with us, especially with McFadden. But most of the time when we throw the screen, we either drop it or the guys come in. But I'm just surprised we haven't used it a lot more as we should. But let's just move forward and see what the Raiders got this Sunday. And as always, guys, I will be bringing you more Raider news, especially covering the game on Sunday. After the game on Sunday, telling you my thoughts on what we did right, what we did wrong, and how I feel moving forward from there. Let me know, guys. What do you think, man? Do you guys think this is going to be a promising new start for the Raiders? We got rid of Dennis Allen. We got just a new head coach in there. Do you think this is going to work out for this season? What do you think about Mike Holmgren? Do you want him in, or do you still wishing for John Gruden to come in? Let me know what your thoughts on the Raiders of today. What are your thoughts of where they're at and how they're going to get better? Because I'm really interested to hearing what you guys have to say about our Oakland Raiders this year. So that's it for now. This is Just Win Baby Podcast, and as always, I'll be tuning in on Sunday watching the Raiders. Okay, guys, this is Dan the Man. I'm out.